So I wanted to share a pattern that I've been using a lot more in my Cold Fusion and my Angular code, and that's the idea of taking an immutable collection of data and wrapping it inside of a parent collection such that I could optimize the parent collection for local consumption. So to showcase this in an Angular context, imagine that I have a list of friends and I want to be able to search and sort on that list. And you can see here as I type, I'm hiding the DOM elements in place. And then I can also sort them based on name or sort them based on creation date. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm not actually mutating the underlying collection of friends in any way. What I've done is I've wrapped a collection of friends inside a result set, and then I'm mutating that result set directly such that when I type, I can set a visibility flag on the result without having to actually change the underlying friend reference. So let's take a look at how this works in the code. So again, what I'm going to take is a collection of friends, and I'm going to wrap that collection inside of another collection that I can use for my local view model. So here's my friend result, and you can see I have isVisible, which is determining whether or not the item is hidden on the page. And then I have some keyword for filtering and some sortable. So these are going to be view model values that have been optimized for use in filtering and sorting without, again, having to change or mutate the underlying friend collection in any way. So if we look down on my init, what we can see is that I get the friends collection, and then I map the friends collection onto this build results. And if we jump down here, what we can see is that we map the collection of friends onto another collection, which is going to be our result set, and part of that mapping takes that friend object, adds it as a property in the results, and then sets up the results collection for local view consumption. You can see here that I'm normalizing some name and email properties for search. I'm also uppercasing the name for sorting so that we get a case-insensitive sort. I'm converting dates to tick counts so that we can more easily perhaps sort on date. Not all of this is needed, but I'm just trying to showcase the fact that this data is a representation of the underlying data, but in a way that has been altered for local view consumption. Now, when I do something like filter, let's jump to my handle filter, you can see that I'm going to take that query provided by the user and I'm going to apply it to that results collection. If we jump down here, you can see that I'm normalizing the query, because remember, when I created the results set, part of that result set creation was a normalization of data under the hood for efficient and optimized local view consumption. So now when I want to be able to filter on that result set, I have to sort of normalize the input from the user so that I'm now comparing apples to apples, so to speak. And now when I loop over the results, you can see that I'm mutating the visibility property, the isVisible property, directly on that result set, because I don't have to worry about mutable versus immutable, because I know that the result set is wholly owned by the local component. So the sense of immutable data here doesn't matter, because I'm never passing this results reference out of scope, which means that I own the results collection entirely, which means that I can now bake in optimizations like in-place mutation, and I don't have to implement immutable data patterns just for the sake of having immutable data patterns. And that makes these algorithms a lot easier to understand, and I think a lot more efficient. I mean, when I say a lot, some degree more efficient, because I'm not reallocating collections. Now, this is a pattern that I've been using for Angular, but it's also a pattern that I've been using in my Cold Fusion as well. For example, this came to front of mind because I used a wrapper collection to implement a natural sort inside of a Cold Fusion algorithm. So this isn't an Angular or even a front-end specific approach. This is simply a more, if I had to articulate it, it's this idea of taking a collection and then not rendering that collection directly, but thinking about the wrapper function as the thing you are rendering. So for example, in this case, I'm not rendering a list of friends, I'm rendering a result set, and that result set happens to reference friends. And this elevates that concept of the result set to a first-class citizen, and that combined with the fact that I can now mutate that collection directly just makes, I think, the whole concept easier to understand and to think about and therefore to maintain over time.